Alright guys, so I am going to go ahead and instruct y'all on how to break down and learn medical terms. So I'm going to give you all a few examples. I'm going to show you how to break them down and what you need to know. And then when I give you a worksheet and when you see these kind of terms, you'll know you can break them down pretty easily using your common medical terms. Or modern common medical abbreviations, prefixes, all that stuff. I think I said term. That was right. So here's the first one. So the first one we have is dermatology. And so the way I want y'all to learn how to break these down is, first of all, find the root word. So here, the root word is dermat, okay, which means skin. And then, so obviously we don't have a prefix because the prefixes are at the beginning. So we're going to have a suffix here, and the suffix we see here is logi, okay, which is the study of. So in the handouts or in the PowerPoint, we talked about the combining vowel. So because the root word ends with a consonant and the suffix starts with a consonant, we have a combining vowel. So how we break it, basically how I know that y'all see it is by doing these two kind of lines. Okay, so that way you know there's a combining vowel here. And then the way you actually read a medical term is you start at the suffix, and then you go all the way around to the beginning. So obviously you wouldn't read this term as skin study of, you would read it as study of the skin. Alright, so there's example number one. We have a few words, a pretty good amount of words, so I'm going to give you a lot of different examples. So again, kind of similar to that first one we just had. First, I want you to look for that root word, okay, which is ma'am, okay, which means breast. And then you have a suffix, gram, which means picture. I don't know where that extra line came in. Okay, so, and then obviously, and so in your common medical terms, you'll see that little dash O. So it's saying if an O is used, then it's usually going to be an O. Or if a letter is used, it's normally going to be an O. So you would read this as picture of the breast. Because again, start with the suffix, go all the way around to the beginning. Okay, and that's how you read it that way. Alright? So let's give, I won't do that one. Alright, so here we have our root word is site, okay, which means cell. And our prefix here is macro, which is large. So again, when you read a medical term, you always start with the suffix, but there's no suffix here. Alright, so you can actually start from the beginning. This is a large cell. So that one is pretty simple. So if you just have a prefix and you just have a prefix and a root word, then you can read it just as it is, a large cell. Okay, macro, this O right here is not a combining vowel because it is part of the prefix. Alright? Another example here. So you have a root word here is COL, col, okay, which is the colon or large intestine. I'm just going to abbreviate here. Okay, combining vowel. And then stomy, which means surgical opening. So, again, how to read this, start with the suffix, then go around the beginning of the word. That is a surgical opening of the large intestine. So that's a colostomy. All right, and if you read all the way through the PowerPoint, even though it wasn't on the worksheet, you'll know that pronunciation and spelling are very, very important with medical terms. Okay. All right. Here's a good example. Another really good example. So, if you look at your root words, you're not going to see a root word that's poly. Okay. So, let's go with nor. So, nor here means nerve. Okay. But if you look at poly, look at your word, it means many. And then itis is inflammation. Now, there is not a combining vowel used here because the suffix itis begins with an I. Okay, so that already makes it flow. The combining vowel is really just used to make things flow a lot better. So, here you have a prefix, a root word, and a suffix. So, again, you have to start the suffix when you read the term and go around the beginning. So this would be 2 and 3. So polyneuritis is the inflammation of many nerves. So hopefully this is starting to make sense to y'all. Okay. So inflammation, always start with the suffix and then go around the front. Alright. Another simple example, okay, you have ot, which means ear, and scope, which means instrument to view. So with the combining vowel here, okay, so an otoscope, instrument to view the ear. Alright, in the notes, you also had a rule with a combining vowel when you're using 2 root words, okay? So here you see the root word my, okay, which is muscle, and you see the word cardi, which means heart. So because you have 2 root words next to each other, you have to use that combining vowel, okay? This is just something special. It's just kind of used to help make things flow again, and that's to make it a noun. I'm not really worried about y'all knowing all that information. But so this is kind of a special You'll see another couple in a little bit. And so without a suffix, you can read this muscle of the heart, or you could read this as heart muscle, which obviously makes a little bit more sense. But you can read it either way, just because there's 2 root words there. Okay. Here's another strange example. This is a word that actually has no root word. This pania could actually be considered a root word, but it is having to do with breathing. And then if you look at your prefix list, you see the word dis, which is difficulty. So you can read this as difficulty breathing, but again, I already taught you all to go from the front to the back. Or back to the front, sorry. So this is breathing that is difficult. Okay, so even though you can say difficulty breathing, I want y'all to get in the habit is if there's a suffix, start at the end and go back to the front. Alright, Endo Gastric. Alright, so look for your root word, okay, which is gaster, and that means stomach. Okay, again, this IC is just a little helpful filler, and it means pertaining to. I can't spell. Pretend that it says pertaining. And then endo means inside. So, again, you don't need a combining vowel because endo ends with the O, and that's part of the prefix. So, endogastric, you can read that as inside the stomach. Again, no suffix, so inside the stomach. Two more for y'all. Alright, so I don't know if I gave y'all ladder, okay, but ladder means side. This all is just another filler, and bi means two. So when you talk about looking at things bilaterally, you're going to look at 2 sides, or both. So when we start getting into actual injuries and looking for certain like testing, like special tests and things like that, you'll hear the term test bilaterally. So that means you test both sides. You test the good side and the bad side. Okay. Last word. This is a word you'll see a lot, especially when it comes to injuries. So you see tendon, which I know is spelled weird, but it actually means tendon. And then again, you don't need a combining vowel because you see itis, and that I begin, or the suffix begins with an I, inflammation. So tendinitis, inflammation of the tendon. Okay. So when I give y'all a worksheet, I'm going to show y'all, I'll give y'all an example in your worksheet of how I want y'all to actually break down the term. So you'll get that worksheet later on, or you'll get that worksheet with this video, following this video. So if you have any questions about how to read a term, please do not hesitate to contact me. Thanks, guys.